Title says it all, I'd say. It was a very big day yesterday for Disney Plus. With yesterday's announcement of all the new content coming our way next year and on, Disney has confirmed with authority their position that streaming media is the future of Disney. We're talking 10 new shows for Star Wars, 10 new shows for Marvel, as well as news about, all the new features, animated and live action, both Disney and Pixar, plus some interesting casting choices that I'd like to talk about. We're going to be talking about that and more next on Fresh Baked. Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to Fresh Baked. We've got a lot of ground to cover because there is a ton of new content coming to Disney Plus in the next year or two. So naturally, we're going to try to cover as much of this as possible for you while giving our thoughts on each of them. And some of it is definitely interesting indeed. There are a few titles that have really got my interest, and we're going to start naturally with Star Wars. And I'll tell you what, I was not expecting to hear them announce 10 titles. Some of them we already knew about, but there's definitely some new stuff that I was not expecting. I was expecting 3 or 4, maybe 5, I don't know. I was not expecting 10 new series coming to Disney Plus. By the way, if you thought that Disney was going to take a step back from Star Wars content to sort of reflect on what's happening, considering the less than awesome reception that they got for Last Jedi, you might be mistaken, because they are definitely leaning into Star Wars content. Maybe not into feature films. That may be a minute still before we see any more of those, but they are invested heavily in Star Wars content on Disney Plus for streaming. And I think they might have hit some of you in a very soft spot with this first title that we're going to talk about, and that is the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. Now, of course, the series has been long rumored. We've heard about this for a long time, so it's no surprise that they're announcing it. But the real surprise is news that they have cast none other than Hayden Christensen as Darth Vader. And I must say, this has me quite excited, the casting of Hayden Christensen as Darth Vader, if only for the reason that it gives him a chance to redeem himself a little bit from his performances in the prequel trilogy. And on that topic, I will say that it's not completely his fault. George Lucas is not a particularly adept writer at romance and dialogue and people just conversing naturally. That's not his strong suit, so the actors suffer from that. They don't have great lines to speak. But I am really excited to see what Hayden can do, because I do think he's a capable actor, and I'm really excited to see him come back into the fold and start playing Star Wars character again. This is a really great opportunity. Now, with this casting, it also confirms a timeline for the show. It will be set 10 years after Revenge of the Sith, time enough for Anakin to sort of settle comfortably into the Darth Vader skin again. And I'm really looking forward to this, and really looking forward to seeing Deborah Chow, her vision for the show. She directed chapters 3 and 7 of The Mandalorian, 2 excellent segments of our new favorite Star Wars content. The next one I want to talk about is Andor, which is a spin-off from Rogue One and features the title character, Cassian Andor. I'm a huge fan of the film, and I'm excited to see and hear more from this story. It's created by Tony Gilroy. He wrote the original Rogue One. You might also know him from the Bourne films. And the cast will include Stellan Skarsgård, which is excellent, as well as the return of Alan Tudyk as K2SO and Genevieve O'Reilly as Mon Mothma. It's so exciting. Okay, next we're getting more Clone Wars. This time it's the Bad Batch, which centers on a group of experimental clones who weren't exactly, up to clone standards, but they were still formidable nonetheless. This series is a spin-off of the original Clone Wars series, and if you want to catch up on this before the series airs, see episode 1 of season 7 to find out more. Next is a new series from Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, who are the 2 men most responsible for The Mandalorian. This new show is Rangers of the New Republic, and it is set in the same timeline as The Mandalorian, and presumably the same universe, for lack of a better word, of The Mandalorian. It's not quite a spin-off as far as I can tell, but it will reference or intersect with that show. Now, this is the show, though, that they were possibly considering Gina Carano as like a spin-off for her character from The Mandalorian. Her character in that series recently joined the Rangers of the New Republic. However, there is some drama about whether or not this character is going to be kept, I guess, or whether she's going to be able to maintain that role due to some controversial comments she's made on social media. Okay, next, let's talk about Star Wars Visions. This is one of the more curious entries into the new slate of Star Wars stories. There are a series of animated shorts from some notable anime creators. Now, I'm not personally a big fan of anime myself, so I can't speak with any sort of enthusiasm about the topic, but it is interesting that they're doing this nonetheless. It kind of reminds me of those first two Star Wars Clone Wars, I don't want it, compilations that they did back before the Clone Wars series on Cartoon Network. I did enjoy those. So hopefully Star Wars Visions will be up, I'll be up for that as well. But I'm sure there's a lot of anime fans out there who are simply dying for this kind of content for Star Wars. And what's interesting is that they're expanding, the motifs, as it were, how they present us Star Wars content. Okay, moving on. There's a new Lando series in development. No idea if this is live action or animated. They haven't said much, though I expect or I assume Donald Glover will be cast as Lando. At least they better. I can't imagine them doing this show without him. Next is a droid story starring, well, I guess you can assume who this show is starring. This is going to be an animated feature, or animated series, I should say, as well, which has my curiosity. Simply because they made a point of saying that they're going to join up, as if that's not a thing that we've really seen before. I mean, there is Lucasfilm Animation, and then there's ILM. ILM is typically for features. We don't often, I guess, hear about them working alongside animation. And then finally, as Star Wars content goes, there is The Acolyte. This series is described as taking viewers into a galaxy of shadowy secrets, and will focus some on the dark side powers during the last days of the High Republic. I feel like I've said so much already, but that's just Star Wars. Now we've got 10 more series dedicated to Marvel. Some of it, though, may sound familiar because we've already been given a heads up on quite a few of these titles over the past year. Even, when Disney Plus was first being launched, they were talking about some of these titles. First, there's WandaVision. We've been hearing about this one for a while, and it's going to premiere actually in about a month from now. And that's going to feature Wanda Maximoff and Vision kind of living some suburban lives, or perhaps not. I'm not sure. The trailer looks pretty great, so I'm definitely looking forward to this. You've also probably heard about Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It features Sebastian Stan and Anthony Mackie in the title roles, and we'll see them take on the usual Avenger-y type missions, I'm sure. It's just a 6-episode series, but do expect to see the return of Daniel Bruhl as Baron Zemo and Emily Van Camp as Sharon Carter. Next is Loki, which will, of course, feature Loki. And this show will take place after Endgame in terms of the Marvel timeline. Keep in mind, this is not the same Loki we saw get killed in Endgame, but rather a previous version of Loki who hadn't yet been killed by Thanos when the gang went back in time. I love Tom Hiddleston as an actor, and I also especially love him as Loki, but I'm most interested to see how how his character, or how he plays the character, separate from all of his Avenger. He didn't actually ever get to really appear by himself in many scenes. So I'm looking forward to seeing him as a lead, as a central character in a story. I'm also quite interested to see what's up with the casting of Owen Wilson and Richard Grant. Owen Wilson obviously is kind of an odd, he's Owen Wilson, right? But Richard Grant, man, that guy can chew up scenes like nobody's business. I'm a big fan of his. We saw him recently in Last Jedi. He had a small part in Last Jedi, but he is an amazing character actor, and I'm looking forward to seeing, what we've got. Putting him next to Loki should be fascinating. Next is What If, narrated by Jeffrey Wright, whom I love. And it's an animated series that asks, what if the stories we know so well from Marvel were different in, some small way? For example, what if Agent Carter got the super serum instead of Steve Rogers? What if T'Challa was picked up by Yondu instead of Star-Lord? Should be a fun diversion from the usual Marvel stories, but I'm not sure if this one will get any traction. The show will premiere on Disney Plus next summer. Okay, how about an animated series for Miss Marvel? Not Captain Marvel, but Miss Marvel. Well, you got it. In late 2021, the show will feature the Kamala Khan version of the title character who first appeared in books in 2014. She's a 16-year-old Pakistani-American from New Jersey who is a big fan of Captain Marvel, so there is a relationship there. And she winds up becoming a superhero herself. This one has my attention, if only because it's not a story that I'm particularly familiar with. I never read any of the Miss Marvel comics, so I don't know her story as well as some others might. And for that reason, that's why I'm looking forward to this. I like discovering new content, especially in an ever-expanding universe like Marvel or Star Wars, for that matter. All right, there's also a Hawkeye series coming. We've heard about that, of course. This too will be late 2021 and will star Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye. But we'll also be seeing more than a little bit, I believe, of Kate Bishop, who will be played by Haley Steinfeld. Now, my prediction is that this series probably won't last more than a single season unless viewers find themselves attached, or they connect with the Kate Bishop character, and then we see a spin-off of Haley Steinfeld as Kate Bishop. Now, this next title has me super curious. She-Hulk is coming to Disney Plus, and that's all you have to say. I love the Hulk as a superhero and as a character, and I expect I will love She-Hulk no less. It's described as a comedy, though, which is interesting, but I guess that's something that Marvel is already pretty good at. We're also going to see Mark Ruffalo appear as Hulk in the show, but even more interesting, we're going to see Tim Roth return as Abomination, who you may know as the villain from The Incredible Hulk, the Edward Norton Hulk film. I did not see that coming at all. That was not on my radar. Okay, Moon Knight. This character has got a pretty strong following in the comic book world, though I suspect most casual viewers of Marvel have not heard of him outside of that. Then there's Secret Invasion, which is a series featuring Samuel Jackson as Nick Fury, who teams up with, and I just love this, Ben Mendelsohn's Skull character, Talos from Captain Marvel. I very much enjoyed the chemistry between Sam Jackson and Talos from Captain Marvel. That was very enjoyable. They had a lot of good comedic timing together. And I guess Disney recognized that as well, so they're going to get their own series, which I'm very much looking forward to. This is going to be good stuff. And then finally, there's Armor Wars featuring War Machine from the Iron Man movies. I Am Groot, which is a series of original shorts featuring Groot, obviously, and a Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. No word yet on if there's going to be any holographic entertainment in the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, and if you have seen the Star Wars holiday special, then you will get that reference. And yeah, so that's the main news with regard to Star Wars and Marvel, but there were a lot of other announcements, some of it quite newsworthy, quite interesting, and we're going to start with perhaps the most interesting thing of all, and that is the new Buzz Lightyear film that's being developed. It's an origin story for Buzz Lightyear. This is fascinating because I love origin stories, so I'm really looking forward to this, but with this news was also the news that Chris Evans has been cast to play Buzz Lightyear. Well, actually, not our Buzz Lightyear, the Buzz Lightyear as we know him, but the real, quote-unquote, Buzz Lightyear upon which the toy was based. Okay, cool. I really like the sound of that. I like the idea of telling an origin story. So there's this real person, Buzz Lightyear, who went to space and became, internationally famous. So they made a toy based off that character. Very cool. I love that idea. It sounds great. But a large part of me still wants Tim Allen to be the voice. I mean, it's an animated film, so you could do this. But I want Tim Allen's voice for Buzz Lightyear. Be that the real Buzz Lightyear or the toy Buzz Lightyear. I don't know why, but I just feel like that's my Buzz Lightyear for the same reason or in the same way that Tim Allen is my Santa Claus. That's just, he's Buzz Lightyear to me. But anyway, it's probably a hill that I'm not willing to die on, so you go and do your thing, Disney. I'm really looking forward to this Buzz Lightyear story. I'm a big Chris Evans fan anyway, so it's a hell of a consolation prize if you ask me. Okay, next, we've heard that there was a live-action Pinocchio film on the way along the same route as all those other live-action, films that we've been seeing, Sleeping Beauty and Dumbo, etc., etc., etc. Except now it's been confirmed by Disney that this is going direct to Disney Plus. This is one of those examples of a film that it was meant for the big screen, but that path is changing as Disney's focus changes. Not sure yet, though, if this will be a Premier Access type release, but I don't think it will be. By the way, this is going to be directed by Robert Zemeckis. You know him from Back to the Future, Polar Express. He did the Disney Christmas Carol, that weird animated thing. Well, Polar Express has that weird animation too. So hopefully, he can pull this off. And it'll be starring Tom Hanks as Geppetto. So cool for that. Okay, next we've got Raya and the Last Dragon, which we've been hearing about this one for a while. And it's been confirmed to be released both in theaters and on Disney Plus at the same time via Premier Access. So if you're among those who thought the Milan experiment didn't go very well, or it was a failure, or it didn't get any traction, that does not appear to be the case. I think that Disney's still definitely interested in releasing films in this way, and I believe we're going to see other studios do the same thing. We already see something like that with HBO and HBO Max with Time Warner, or with Warner Brothers Studios. So expect Raya and the Last Dragon to be a Premier Access sometime in March of 2021. Okay, so we've also got a new Peter Pan film coming, Peter Pan and Wendy. Jude Law as Captain Hook, and I honestly don't know why they keep making Peter Pan movies. Like, they make them every year, it seems like. But practically none of them wind up being successful, so this is an interesting play by Disney. And I cannot forget Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. Not a series, though. This is actually going to be a feature. We're getting a Rescue Rangers movie, and it will star John Mulaney and Andy Samberg, and I'm definitely intrigued by that. Look for this in the spring of 2022, so not next year, but the year after. And finally, there are a ton of new features and series, apart from the Marvel, Star Wars stuff and the other things that I just mentioned, more niche product. But there's a lot of new stuff coming. We've got a Cars series featuring Lightning McQueen. Not shorts, though, like the Mater series, but it sounds like these are full episode length shows. We've also got series coming for Baymax, Zootopia, Tiana, and Moana. And I could go on and on. There's so much more that I haven't even mentioned that they called out. No wonder it took them 4 hours to do this announcement. But I'm grateful that I've already locked in. I bought that 3-year package at D23, got a hell of a bargain, so I'm locked in for another couple of years. So this is going to be just like free stuff for me. I'm expecting prices to go up pretty regularly for the next few years. In fact, they've already raised the price or announced their price increase that's going to start next year. Right now, you can get it for $6.99 a month or $69.99 per year. That's going to go up to $7.99 per month next year. But I still feel like $7.99 a month is an amazing deal considering everything that you get. There's so much stuff. You can watch Disney Plus all day for a long time. And the good news is that they are committing. We have asked for more content, right? In order to keep people on, you have to keep bringing them new stuff. And that's what we asked for, and that's what we got. We've got buckets of new content. So it makes the $7.99 price all the more valuable, if you ask me. And I really don't think they're going to stop with these. As the years go on, they're going to keep adding new content. Just look at what Netflix is doing. Netflix is adding, they can't even keep up with all the new stuff. I'm not talking about bringing in, new films from other studios. Netflix is pretty much their own studio now. They make so much new content. You cannot keep up with all the new stuff coming to Netflix. So expect Disney Plus to be the same way. And it's Disney content, not Netflix content. So there's that. That is a very good thing. Okay, yeah, so that's it for now. Of course, I want to hear from you guys on what you think. What are you looking forward to the most? What announcement surprised you the most? Like for me, it was the casting of Chris Evans, I think. Or actually, I take that back. It's the casting of Anakin Skywalker with Hayden Christensen. I shouldn't say surprised, but I guess that answers both questions. I'm surprised and excited about Hayden Christensen coming back to the Ben Kenobi series. Cannot wait. And with that, guys, until next time, thank you very much for watching. Tell your friends about FreshBaked. Share this video with them on your social media outlets. You can also follow us on social media, _FreshBaked for Instagram, and FreshBaked Disney, that's Fresh with no E, for Twitter. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Stay safe, stay kind, and FreshBaked.